Here in this video, we're going to take a look at how many shares of Tesla stock you need to own now in order to retire by 2034. Now, this is not going to include selling Tesla stock. So this is only a theoretical dividend in which Tesla eventually will issue as long as Tesla continues to be successful. So this would be purely on passive dividend income a year and you never needing to sell your Tesla stock. We're going to do this by looking at a 5 trillion, 10 trillion, $20 trillion kind of estimates for market cap going ahead into the future. Now, what's important to know is I think $5 trillion is achieved on whether robotaxis or Optimus are successful, but not both, right? If both of those are a flying success, I think Tesla's at least going to 10, if not $20 trillion of market cap. But if Optimus flops and robotaxis successful, $5 trillion definitely, for sure, in the cards, in my personal opinion. Now, that's subject to my personal opinion, of course. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Now, if both FSD, robotaxis, and Optimus are pretty successful, 10 trillion should be achievable. If they are both wildly successful, and to the same extent as we believe, or some people believe they could be, 20 trillion could be an accessible valuation for Tesla. After all, Elon just said on the earnings call that productivity could be limitless with Optimus because you're literally creating manpower, so there could be no limit to the economy. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section, but let's go ahead and get started. First up, in a $5 trillion theoretical valuation for Tesla stock in the future, this would be my bearer case. That would be an 8.36x from here to about $1,500 per share by 2034. So for this calculation, I'm going to use a 1.5% dividend on $1,500 per share, which I think is pretty conservative considering the margins that we're expecting Optimus or Robotaxi to have and the free cash flow generation that could have. That would be about $22.50 per share per year in dividend income. Now, based on a simple calculation here, for Tesla to achieve roughly $1,500 per share, that would be about $33.44 of yearly EPS times the current PE of 43.58, and that gives you about $1,452. Add, 1 to the PE multiple, you're going to be at roughly about $1,500. Now, that would be a payout ratio of about 60%, which is still pretty low for dividend paying companies. Now, you can obviously tweak these numbers however you want, right? Maybe it's higher, maybe it's lower, maybe the EPS comes in different. But for this calculation, we're going to use $22.50 per share. So that means actually if you're buying Tesla stock today based on your price, you would actually be getting about a 12% yield. Now here's where things can vary as well, because some people are comfortable with $100,000 of passive income by retirement. Some people are not going to be happy with that. Some people are going to be happy with $1 million. Now obviously the numbers are going to change a lot based on both of those. But if we take a look at just $100,000 of passive income, if you say that's probably the average of what people would want to retire with, divide that by 22.5, that would be about 4,444 shares of Tesla stock that you would need to own today in order to retire with $100,000 of passive income. Now, in today's terms, in a dollar amount, that would be 187 times 187. That'd be about $831 per share. Now, that is definitely a lot of money. You can obviously tweak these numbers by whatever you want. If you think a more realistic dividend yield could be, 2.5%, then you'd be looking at about $37.50 per year in income. Now, I know that goes against the EPS, but you can obviously vary that based on, what we just did. And then you could say, hey, 100,000 divided by 37.5, that would be about 2,666 shares of Tesla stock that you would need to own today. That would be a dollar amount equivalent of about $498,000 worth of Tesla stock today. I don't think that's all too bad considering, a lot of you guys have more than that already in Tesla stock. And by then, 2,666 shares of Tesla at $1,500 per share would be about $4 million in notional value for Tesla stock. So tweak these numbers how you will. I'm just giving you a rough gauge. So anywhere from, 2,600 shares you would need to own today to 4,000 shares you would need to own today based on whether or not the dividend is 1.5% or 2.5%. Considering Tesla's free cash flow, especially with robotaxi, as long as that is successful, could be 80 plus percent. It could be a lot, right? So you could, have a lot of dividend yielding potential there. Now, if robotaxi and Optimus are pretty successful overall and do well, and Tesla reaches a $10 trillion market cap by 2034, that would be a 16.7x from here. That would be $3,125 per share. Now, again, if you consider Tesla might pay about a 1.5% dividend on that, that would be $46.87 per share of dividend income. Now, if we go over here, say you want $100,000 to retire with per year in passive income, again, without selling Tesla stock, that means that you would have to own about 2,133 shares of Tesla stock today, times the current price of Tesla stock. That would be about $398,000 worth of Tesla stock you would need to own today. Now, if we do this same calculation based on, a 2.5% yield, you're going to get some wildly different numbers here, right? That would be $78 per share of passive income per year divided by 100,000 would put you at needing about 1,200, almost 1,300 shares of Tesla stock right now in order to achieve $100,000 a year in passive income. Now, what that would cost you in today's dollar amounts is about $239,000. So imagine that. Imagine down the line, if you're getting paid $100,000 per year off your passive income, and you only have to buy $239,000 worth of Tesla stock today. That is, absolutely insane, right? Let's see if we can do some simple calculations here. That would be you actually receiving almost 42% of a dividend yield. Insane. Now, here's where things theoretically could get crazy. Now, a $20 trillion market cap. I think this is only accessible if Tesla is successful on robotaxi, is successful on Optimus, like really successful, and successful in energy storage, which looks very likely, and some kind of recurring revenue could come from that as well. Maybe sharing the grid, the power. Tesla's going to be a pretty dang big part of your life if Tesla is a $20 trillion market cap. Now, I don't think this could happen in the next 10 years. I'm not going to be unrealistic. I think this could be possible by 2040. So about 16 years from now, as long as things, are successful, you could be a $20 trillion market cap. That would be a 33.44x from today's share price. That would put Tesla stock at $6,254 per share. Holy moly. Now, at this point, Tesla better be paying at least a 1.5% dividend, and I do think that's pretty conservative because if all of those things are successful, Tesla as well as that, just secondary things like the charging network, there's going to be lots of income that Tesla is bringing in. Really software-like margins, like Meta-like margins, like 80%. Okay, it should be pretty insane at this point. That would be $93.81 of dividend income per share per year. That means if you wanted $100,000 of passive income per year by 2040, with Tesla at a $20 trillion market cap, $6,254 per share, paying a 1.5% dividend, which I think is pretty dang conservative at that point, being $93.81 per year, you would need to own 1,065 shares of Tesla stock today. That would equal out to about $199,000 a year. And again, that's just an insane number. If you actually look at the percentage yield you'd be getting, almost 53% per year if you're buying Tesla stock today. And they only issue a 1.5% dividend by a 20 trillion market cap valuation. So really, depending on when you're buying Tesla stock, when they actually issue the dividend is massive. Like just for Meta's case that just issued a dividend, they issued a $2 dividend per year per share. That is half of 1% today. But if you were buying Meta 1 year ago, 18 months or so ago, at $100 per share, that's 2% a year. So, I mean, your percentage of what you're actually earning is much larger depending on when you actually buy the stock and the lower that you do inevitably buy the stock. Now, here's where things get even crazier, okay? Let's work with the same calculation that Tesla's a $20 trillion market cap by 2040. The Tesla shares are $6,254 a piece. By then, you're going to see a couple more splits at bare minimum, in my personal opinion. But we're just working with the face value of what these numbers would look like. Let's say Tesla by then is a pretty mature company, and they're paying about 3% per year. That's what your typical mature company pays that is sustainable. That's like a Coca-Cola. That's like, some of those stocks. Sustainable behemoths usually pay about 3% per year. That's usually what you want to shoot for at the bare minimum if you are in retirement anyways. That would be $187.62 per share per year in dividend income. So if you wanted to make $100,000 per year in passive income, you would only need 532 shares of Tesla stock today. That would be equivalent to about $99,000 by 2040, which is just insane because at this point, you're going to be making your initial investment back every single year in just dividend income. 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. That's insane. So if you were buying Tesla stock at $187 per share, where it's currently at, and Tesla's paying out, almost $187 per year per share of dividend income, you're literally going to be making 100% of a dividend yield. That's pretty much unheard of. I believe early investors in like Coca-Cola are making roughly that, just because they bought the stock so cheap, and like Warren Buffett days, right? Like the 40s. Warren Buffett makes like $500+ million a year in dividend income. He didn't spend even close to that back in the day to buy the stock, right? So that's what the power of buying stock today, growth stocks. This is ultimately why people buy growth stocks, right? For them to ultimately pay a dividend. And that's where you get the massive dividend return or yield on your money. Because if you're buying Tesla stock today and these things come true and it ends up paying 3% a year, yeah, man, you're going to be very, 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 very well off. And even by then, if you own 533 shares of Tesla stock today, times that by a theoretical $6,254 value, you are still going to have $3.33 million in your position. Let alone, let's say you own 2,500 shares of Tesla stock today, and you're getting paid out $187 in dividend income per year. I mean, you're going to be making $467,000 per year just in your Tesla stock dividend income, let alone any of the other investments you have. You could be making millions of dollars a year with everything included. A passive income just by owning 2,500 shares of Tesla stock today. I think that the different scenarios you can really employ around this all come to the same just mind-blowing conclusion. You almost have to own Tesla stock today. And if you're looking at the face value of what your position could theoretically be worth, if you owned 2,500 shares of Tesla stock today times $6,254 per share, that is $15.63 million. So I want to be very clear. This is not a recommendation. This is not a guarantee by any means. Tesla would really have to execute, and things would have to go their way with robotaxi, with Optimus, with energy generation and storage, get some recurring revenues there, some very high margins on everything from charging to robotaxi to Optimus. Everything would pretty much have good margins by then, you would imagine, at least, right? And there's a lot of different potential avenues this could take. Robotaxi being a more clear one, that should have some really, really good margins attached to it. But let's be honest, if Tesla ever reaches 10, 15, 20 trillion dollars of market cap, even 5 trillion of market cap, Tesla's going to be a well-known name in your household. Tesla obviously would be a very successful company by then. So you would have to be making a big bet. And when Tesla stock is $187 per share, that is kind of wild for anyone to think about the possibility that Tesla could reach, $6,000 per share. But in all reality, I mean, if you do look at something like a Coca-Cola and look at Coca-Cola's chart, it would be like you buying Coca-Cola down here, right? The equivalent of what the chart would actually look like for Tesla by then. It could be pretty dang insane. So let me know down below in the comment section, what is your opinion for, where Tesla stock is going to be, what kind of dividend that they could ultimately pay, how you look at this specifically, because I know a lot of you guys are long-term investors, like holding Tesla until retirement. And I think it's important to understand what that could potentially look like and how many shares you may need to own. If all things go well, a little bit over 500 shares could get the job done. About $99,000 worth today, which is just, crazy to think about, right? And, on the high side, if things do not go as smoothly as planned, 2,000 shares could get the job done. On the really conservative side, really bad side, 4,000 shares could get the job done and be making you $100,000 a year. Again, that would be Tesla stock around $1,500 per year, only paying a 1.5% dividend, which I believe Tesla is going to be more successful than that. And I do think that ultimately the dividend is going to be closer to, 2.5% to 3%. But nonetheless, anywhere from 500 to 4,000 shares, a lot of you guys own more than that today. So pretty exciting path ahead for Tesla stock. Again, let me know what you think down below in the comment section. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.